is Miss Potamin, and today I'm gonna talk about some new posts that are from Workout Hub. Let's read them. The new posts are exclusive title and cover reveal a Starless Clan, exclusive title and cover reveal Warriors the Ultimate Guide, exclusive title and cover reveal Super Edition. So let's start with exclusive title and cover reveal a Starless Clan. So about my voice, but I'm a little bit sick, so yeah. Let's read more. It's an official post, by the way. This is how it's looking. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Starless Clan Warriors Thunder. Okay, let's read. The ending of Sky had more than a few surprises in store, with neither abrupt departure from Thunder Clan, Frost Power realization over her connection with Star Clan, and Shadow Clans attacking on River Clan. To make up for the suspense through the moons left before Shadow's release, we are announcing the title and cover for the fourth book in the 8th arc of Wars. The fourth book in the new arc, A Starless Clan, will be titled Thunder. Below you can view the gorgeous new cover for the new book, featuring some BAM in the front, Finch Light on the left in the back, and Sparkle on the right in the back. Keep an eye out for this one hitting your local bookstore. November 17, 2023. To save her clan's future, she must look to its distant past. Frostspell was told to trust no cat, but the brutal attack has left her gravely injured, and she'll need to depend on someone. When help arrives in the form of a young warrior, she convinces him to protect her as she follows Star Clan. Cryptic directions towards the road of River Clan, where River Star has promised she'll find the answer she's been so desperately seeking. Back at the lake, the tension between Shadow Clan and River Clan might be easing, but the pace is fragile. Until Star Clan's chosen leader is found, the slightest push could lead the clans back into outright war. So this is about this title and cover reveal. I really like this cover. It is looking kind of pretty nice. And let's read the next article. Exclusive title and cover reveal work as the ultimate guide. I say sorry about my voice because I'm sick and yeah. Okay, let's read. This is the cover. Whoa. Is the national best-selling series. Wow, that means a lot. Okay, it's again an official post. So 20 years ago, the very first Warriors book was published, beginning that what will eventually become the globe-spanning, award-winning series we know and love today. 10 years ago, the ultimate guide and all-inclusive guide to the world of Warriors featuring illustration of the character and exclusive new content was published. Now in celebration of 20 years of Warriors and 10 years of the ultimate guide, we are announcing the upcoming release of a brand new, up-to-date Where's the Ultimate Guide. We're excited to show you the wonderful new cover for this comprehensive guide to the world of the clans, as well as the official blurb. Keep an eye out for this one hitting your local bookstore on October 20, 2023. And keep an eye out for the promised dedication to the Hidden Prophecy Contest winner dedication in the front of the book. Step inside the world's world with the ultimate update to the ultimate guide to the cats and clans, celebrating the 20th anniversary of Erin Hunter's #1 best-selling series. This new edition adds 10 years of plot developments, new characters, and exclusive toys that can only be found here. Features include new full color art and profiles of more than 85 of the most important Wildcats, and an insider look at each of the clans, the story of how Bramblestar and Tigerstar received their 9 lives. Oh, that's pretty kinda interesting. Okay, an exclusive never before seen glimpse at Firestar and Grey Stripe, view from Star Clan, and more. That's kind of pretty interesting. I would like to buy it. Yeah, I would like to buy it. And the last one is exclusive title and cover ever, Super Edition. I saw some that it is a short video with the anniversary. I saw it in this app. We will see it after we read this. Exclusive title and cover ever, Super Edition, is by the editor or is an official post. 2 years ago, we gave our fans the chance to vote on the protagonist of the next World's Super Edition. The Noble River Clan founder, Riverstar, won the poll, and now we're excited to show you the wonderful new cover for your winning choice. Upcoming adventures as well as the official blurb. Keep an eye out for this on one hitting your local bookstore later this fall. Oh, it comes in this fall. It is during. I think it have many pages. When a storm tosses river sweeps ripple away from the park, he's always know he commits himself to the life of a peaceful loner. Still, as his new island home starts to become a sanctuary for other walkways, he can't help but feel responsible for their safety and for the community and clan they are beginning to build. But when a friend from the park reappears with terrible news, the cat now as Riverstar will have to decide which home he is truly committed to protect, his new clan or his old family. This is a hard decision. So I think it's pretty interesting, this book, Riverstar's Home. Interesting cover and title. I like it. And now, guys, let's look at this video. I think news video special 20 years of Wildcats. Let's watch it. Okay, let's go. Okay.
Hello, my name is Vicky Holmes, and I have worked on Warriors since the beginning until book one of series five.
Um, Hi, I'm Kate Carey, and I wrote the first one, the first and the second book of the Warrior series, and I've been writing for them ever since.
Hello, I'm Cherith Baldry. I came into Warriors with the third book, Forest of Secrets, and I also have been writing for them ever since.
It's great to see you both. We've never been in the same room, and we still aren't, but we are good friends. We have known each other a long time. It's safe to say we know each other's secrets. Happy birthday to you both.
Oh,
I'd like to say that you're the wind beneath my wings, but that wouldn't be true because you are my wings. You are warriors. Wouldn't be
Oh,
here
that's
without
lovely.
you.
Thank you.
You're amazing. So much love for you both in my heart, and thank you for everything you've done. Right, I'm going to kick us off with a fan question. How does it feel knowing that this book series has lasted 2 decades and is still going on strong? Did you ever imagine it would continue for over 20 years? Kate.
no, of course not. No. It's amazing. I mean, it always was a brilliant concept, but I read the first book and then the second book, and then just like keep thinking, oh, another series? What, another series? And it's just been amazing. I never thought it would spread so far across the world or go on for so long. So yeah, it's still amazing to me.
Thank you. Cherith?
Yes, absolutely the same. I just can't believe that, we've been doing this for 20 years because it doesn't really seem like 20 years. And yet we have all these books under our belt, and it's absolutely wonderful. And if you go to some foreign country and maybe find a little hole in the wall bookshop somewhere, there'll be a Warriors book in there.
It's amazing. Kate, I'm going to start a question from me. You were going through the writer selection process just as I was taking on the project. What were your first thoughts about the concept?
Well, as I said, it's just brilliant. I just thought, why hasn't anybody written this before? It's just a brilliant idea, right? Like a house cat going to live in the wild. Because as a kid, I always had cats, and I was so worried about them going out at night by themselves, and like, oh no, will they be safe? Will a fox get them? Oh my god! And I just couldn't sleep until they were like in the house. And I found it a real comfort, the thought that these cats could go out into the world and actually have a happier life than as a house cat. So personally, I found them greatly comforting. It was just a lovely idea. Yeah.
And I was truly relieved that you knew so much about cats because I had the stories but no cat knowledge.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Right,
I'm very much a cat person.
Cherith, I think you have a question for me.
Yes, how did you come up with the concept of Star Clan?
Well, interesting fact ThunderClan was originally called StarClan. I think because StarClan seemed like such a cool name, and it was quite apparent that the cats would need some sort of religious or spiritual focus. We knew that we wanted these cats to have an extra element just from being feral cats that we might see in the wild. And that came into that would involve some sort of ancestor awareness. Um, and so I think the concept of StarClan came before we called them StarClan. I think I realized that I wanted the cats to look at stars and to look upwards and to associate stars with fallen warriors. And then it very quickly became apparent that StarClan should be the name that we give to those. And then we needed a new name for ThunderClan. Kate, I think you have a question for Cherry.
Oh yes, yeah, okay. Um, so we write from storylines given to us by the editors. But have you ever wanted to write a warrior storyline yourself, Sheriff?
Oh, yes, I certainly have. And in fact, in a very small way, I did. Because when I was writing Hawkwing's Journey, it was coming up short in terms of length. And our other editor, Stephanie, gave me permission to write something that would get that extra length in there. So I wrote what was effectively a short story about what happened to the travelling cats when they went through the two-leg place where Stick and Cora and all that gang were hanging out. So I was able to write a little extra bit to
that's
that story.
I never knew that. That's really interesting.
Which leads nicely onto my question. Which were each of your favourite storylines that I forced upon you? Okay.
Well, the first one, of course. I mean, yeah, Firepaw's journey becoming the leader of ThunderClan was just amazing, and I think that was the most exciting one, because then we could sort of, it was the establishing of the world of warriors and coming up with a code and tracking bit by bit, sort of embellishing the life and adding things, and I just loved writing that one the most, I think.
Thank you. And Cherith, what about you?
Yes, I think my first one also, Forest of Secrets, is my favourite one, because it was such a challenge to write, because that was me finding my way into the warrior's world. And also, I think it's got one of the strongest plots, maybe of the whole Warriors series in the plural.
That's very interesting you should say that, Cherith, because book 3, Forest of Secrets, is very important to me as well, because it's the point in which I fell in love with warriors. Books 1 and 2, I was such a baby. Gosh, we were so young, Kate. Can you? We knew nothing.
Yeah.
3, I remember coming up with the Blue Star storyline and having had to give up her kits for the sake of her career. And it was a time when I was having childcare issues of my own. And I can remember feeling the liberation of being able to write about these topics in what was essentially a children's book, and just realizing how much potential the series had. So I'm really glad that you picked up on that energy, Cherith. And certainly, just as I'd loved working with Kate for books 1 and 2, it was a joy to dive into book 3 with you.
Thank you.
Right, Cherith, I think you have a question for both of us.
Do I? Yes, I do. Both Vicky and Kate. Which is your favourite cat to write about?
Kate, you go first on this.
Well, I always love writing about the strong female characters. So I suppose Blue Star was always my favourite. And it's funny you talk about the childcare issues. It always makes me sad that female cats solve their childcare issues by giving their children away. And that was heartbreaking. But it was a great scene to write. And I just, I think Yellowfang also, I love writing her, because she was strong, but she also had this dark streak. And I loved her for being just so scrappy and just fierce. So, yeah.
I think, oh gosh, I mean, I loved them all. Certainly, yes, the strong female characters. And I think I'd include Squirrel Flight in that. I think I undersold Squirrel Flight for a long time. And I think actually, the scene in which she rejects her 3 adopted kits and says to Ashfur, "Kill them, I don't care, because they're not mine." That was just such a powerful moment to come up with for the whole of series 3 revolved around that scene on the cliff top. So I think probably I'd say Squirrel Flight for me. I have a question for Cherith. Cherith, you and I had worked together on a number of projects before Warriors, Puppy Patrol, the Abbey Mysteries. Did Warriors feel different from the beginning or not?
Yes, I think it did, because both Puppy Patrol and the Abbey Mysteries took place in the real world, albeit the Abbey Mysteries are back in the Middle Ages. Whereas Warriors was a world of its own, and we could explore that. And as time went by, we added to it. And that was just so cool.
That was an exciting time. Right, I've got a fan question. If Hollyleaf was one of the 3 instead of Dovewing, what would her power be? This is really interesting. And this question is up there with what would Ravenpaw's warrior name be, which I've asked a lot. And the simple answer is Ravenpaw has never had a warrior name in my head, because he was never going to be a warrior. And similarly, Hollyleaf has never had a power. And when I was writing the storylines for The Power of 3, Lion Blaze and Jay Feather, their powers came to me quite instantly. I was like, oh yes, of course he can have the gift of sight beyond vision. And of course Lion Blaze can be invisible in battle. And Hollyleaf, I was just completely stuck. Came up with loads of ideas, none of them stuck. And suddenly it just occurred to me, she's not meant to have a power. This is going to be both her curse and her blessing, I think, is that she is not going to be one of the three. And so sometimes, the stories work in mysterious ways. I can't always say where my inspiration comes from. But Hollyleaf would never have a power, and I could never think of one for her. But Dovewing, her power came to me instantly. So make of that what you will. Have you ever been unhappy with a storyline that I suggested? It's okay, you can tell me now. Perhaps I killed off a character that you felt deserved to stay alive, or chose a path that you didn't agree with. Cherith, you can go first.
I was really emotional about the death of Feathertail in, I think it's Moonrise, certainly in series 2, because she was such an amazing cat in so many ways, and the depth of her feeling, particularly the way that she copes with Crowpaw, as he was then, I felt was just so important. So I was upset when she died, but at the same time, I couldn't say I was unhappy with it, because it was the obvious and right development of that Silver Cat prophecy. So, while I was very sad about it, I had to admit that it was the right thing to do.
Thank you. Kate, what about you?
It was a Greystripe being kidnapped by Two Legs. I just think his relationship with Firestar added so much humour and warmth to the series that I felt this great empty space without it, and I felt he was stolen of his destiny as to be like Firestar's right-hand cat or right paw cat, and so I just think that was stolen from him and given to Bramblestar, and I just always think that's unfair. I think Greystripe was cheated.
I couldn't agree more. But you see, that would have been the easy option. You see, he was always going to be Robin to Firestar's Batman, and to take him away just opens up so many more story possibilities. Firestar's life would have been so much easier if Greystripe had always been there. And yet I did bring him back.
Yeah, and it was good to see him come back at the end, and he got his final big scene. So I did miss him. Yes. So the Warriors landscape, it's developed its own geography over the years. But when I first wrote the book 1 and book 2, I was living in Scotland near Loch Lomond, so the landscape I gave them was very much based around that. But I'm aware that you both had a different actual real landscape in your minds when you were writing, and I just wondered what that was.
Well, I have gone on record as saying that Warriors is basically set in the New Forest, which is a forested area in Hampshire, the county of Hampshire, right in the south of England.
Yeah.
The map certainly is based on the New Forest, and the road, the main thunderpath is the A38 that goes sort of Bournemouth to Ringwood, rather unromantically. So that was the setting I had in mind, but I took great liberties with it to make it fit the story. So I always say to fans, don't go to the New Forest and expect to find 4 trees, for example, or cats living there. But I think basically it was just as Kate wrote about Scotland, I wrote about Hampshire, where I grew up. Cherith, what about you?
Well, I knew that you had set it in the New Forest, which isn't an area I know well, though I have been there, so I had that in mind. But I was born and brought up not far away from the Lake District, and so I did think about that also, particularly when we sent cats into the mountains. And that was something that I could have in mind there.
Yes, that's interesting. So both of you have far more powerful landscapes than me. The New Forest is pretty, but it can't compete with Loch Lomond or the Lake District. But I think what we all share is a huge connection with nature and the natural world. And I think that really comes out, this idea that the cats are immersed in their environment and shaped by their environment and thwarted by it as well. That was always very important to me.
I always wonder how high the mountains are. When in Rory's books, they climb these mountains. Like, are they actually climbing just a tiny little hill, or are they climbing an actual mountain? I'm never entirely sure. So,
Interesting. Yeah, I think the mountains are mountains, but sort of Lake District size mountains.
right, okay, not Alps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't get altitude sickness.
yeah.
Right, Cherith, you have a question for Kate, I think.
Yes. If there's to be a series 9, what would you like to see in it?
Oh, as usual, I'd like to see a series based around Ripper Clan, who's my favourite clan. So I sort of think we should move the focus away from Thunder Clan and Shadow Clan and move it. So, especially Wind Clan as well. I'm very interested in them because they're a bit different from the other clans. They've got this kind of exclusivity, this wildness that the others don't quite have. So I'd like to just see the spotlight move away from Thunder Clan and Shadow Clan a bit more. And I'd like to see this sort of matriarchy of sort of Leopard Star and Mistyfoot, that kind of in River Clan again, not their same cats, of course, but that a sort of strong female-led clan would be really good. Yeah.
Oh, you're making me want to come back.
We
I'll
want
write
you,
this story for you. Right, there's a fan question for me, which is, why did you have the clans move from the forest? And this would be in series 2. Well, there's a rather unexciting answer to this question. I never dreamed we would write series 2. And in fact, only 3 books were commissioned. So it was only going to be another trilogy. And in some desperation, I thought, oh, I've used up all the stories I can possibly find about the cats in this forest. I know, I'll make them move home. And in that, I think I was influenced by Watership Down, the fabulous book about rabbits by Richard Adams, where rabbits are forced by roadworks to find a new home. And it just seemed like a perfect trilogy. Book 1 would be about them discovering that they have to leave and setting off. Book 2 would be about the journey, and book 3 would be about them settling into their new home. And I truly imagined that would be it. I would never write any more books. Of course, it didn't quite turn out like that. But that is why, because I just thought this would be one last exciting adventure before I say goodbye to these cats forever.
So if I can put a word in there, I do like the storylines where for some reason or another we can take the cats back to the old forest and have that background again.
Yes, I agree. I loved writing the novellas because it gave me an excuse to go back. And the forest just felt so familiar, even though only 7 books were set there. The forest still feels like home to me. What about you, Kate?
Sorry, I've lost track. Sorry. I wondered. I don't know what I was thinking about the cake. Okay, when do we get to eat the cake? That was all I was thinking about. Sorry.
See what I have to work with?
Yeah. Like, cake. We have cake now. Okay. So what was the question? Clearly.
That reminds me of. Do you remember the dreaded pre-chapter 14 hump? I always had to give you a little pep talk. You get.
Oh gosh, yeah. You were so good at the pep talks. I would always freak out about I can't do this. And you go, don't be silly. Take a day off. Get back to it. Don't get it right.
I'm on chapter 12 and I'm stuck. And I'd always say, get to chapter 14. You're halfway through. Keep going.
Yeah. My attention wanders after about 12. Anyway, so back to chapter 14. What was the question?
Does the forest still feel like home to you, even though more books have been set around the lake?
Does the forest feel like home? I think so. I think sometimes I have to actually check myself when I'm writing about the lake, going, am I writing about the lake or the forest? And check the, I do. Yeah, I think that is my basic one. And I have to transpose it each time. Going, no, this is the lake. We have to go this way, that, and yeah.
That's really interesting. I think that shows, we invested so much of ourselves in that first series. The 3 of us did walk hand in hand through that forest and explore every corner. And I think by the time we got into sort of series 2, we had it was a very different writing experience. There was a lot more pressure because we were selling so well. And I think, although Cherith was a very experienced writer, Kate and I were just newbies to the whole thing. And we learned and developed so much in series 1 that it's always got such an important place in our hearts, and the landscape is part of that. I truly believe it's real. I truly believe that one day I will find myself in the yeah,
I think that's one reason why Warriors has been so successful, because our fans can imagine themselves into that landscape and have their own adventures in there.
Yes, I hope so. And I think, Cherith, you have the final question.
Yes. Well, Vicky and Kate, which cat would you like to be?
Kate, you go first.
I think I've given a clue in previous answers, so I think it would have to be a female cat because I identify most strongly with our female characters. And although I love Blue Star and Yellowtooth, so many of our cats, to be successful and strong, do have to either give up their lives or their kits. So I think it would have to be Misty Star, because she's the one that managed to get under the radar and not get killed off or have to give up anything. She just got to be leader, and she was fantastic without compromising or sacrificing anything. So Misty Star.
That's brilliant. For me, it would be Cinderpelt. I would love to be a medicine cat. I like the idea of just staying single forever, but having such a strong connection with the whole clan. But also, I am at heart, although it might be hard to believe, I'm quite romantic. So I love the idea of having this unrequited love for the leader of the clan. We're never going to be together, but I can just dream about him in my own private way. I think that suits my personality very, very well. And I don't mind having a bit of a limp. I don't mind.
Yes, I think I would like to be Ferncloud, because she had a great mate. I rate Dustpelt very highly, and she had lots of kits. And although she grieved because she lost some of them, she, every cat has some reason to grieve within the storylines. And she just went on being a brave and faithful ThunderClan cat.
That's really precious, Cherith. And of course, I know about Peter, and I know how much that must mean to you. And I'm really pleased that I created a love and a relationship in which you could reflect your own happy marriage. I'm really glad for that. Thank you.
And thank you for that, Vicky.
Right, ladies, our time is nearly up. The candles are warming my cheek. I think it would be fun if we all just summed Warriors up in 3 words. So, Cherith, you go first.
Exciting, adventurous, emotional.
Thank you. Kate?
Brave, exciting, and heartbreaking.
And for me, the experience of Warriors in my life has been all-consuming, uplifting, and transforming. And I cannot believe we're here 20 years later. Obviously, I've stepped back from the project now, but thank you to everyone keeping it going, to all the brilliant storyline editors, to the team who create the beautiful Warriors Hub, to the people who create the covers, to the publishers, to the booksellers who continue to promote it, to all of you, the fans, for still reading, and most of all, to my dear friends Kate and Cherith. We've never met in person, but we are thick as thieves. We are the original clan. And all that remains for me to say is, here's to the next 20 years. Happy birthday, Warriors.
Happy birthday, Warriors.
Happy birthday, Warriors.
Guys, this was all for today, so I hope you enjoyed. I'm sorry it is pretty long, but the video was pretty long, so that's why it is more longer than the video than last videos. So that is, guys, bye, see you next time.